Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to Vibes Digest. It's your host, Cameron St. Clair, and today I have a very special guest, Jean.
Hello, everybody. How's
Hi.
it going?
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So this is actually my first full day back in New York. I've been home forever. So how was the holidays for you?
It was fun. I actually stayed in New York for the holidays.
Really?
Yeah, I have family in New York.
Oh,
so,
okay.
like my older cousins, I just went to their place.
For Christmas.
We had like Christmas breakfast at one of my older cousins, and then we had dinner at another. So
that's sweet.
I was bouncing from Brooklyn to Jersey. It was cool.
Oh, okay.
I enjoyed it. And then my roommate left, so like I had the crib to myself.
Oh, that's really nice.
Working on some like new music ideas, working on some like, just getting myself ready for the new year, planning wise and stuff. So
yeah,
it was fun.
Nice. I was home in Maryland since like the 18th, so arguably way too long.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Yeah,
I was telling everyone, I'm never doing this again. I love my family dearly. I already know my mother's gonna be watching this, like texting you right now. But it was just a little bit overwhelming. That was like 2.5 weeks. But I definitely enjoyed my time. And then on Christmas Day, did you watch Beyonce's performance?
So yeah, this is the thing. So Christmas, I didn't get to watch it.
Okay.
I did watch it like.
Did you watch it later?
Later. Yes, I did watch it later.
Okay.
I think Christmas, like, there was an interview that LeBron had, and he's like, I love the NFL, but like Christmas is for
it's for the NBA.
And so like I was watching all the NBA games on Christmas.
Really? I disagree
didn't watch
with
any
that.
of the football games.
I actually disagree with that. I feel like historically, Christmas has always been catered to the NFL.
That's Thanksgiving.
I think it's both holidays.
I think you're getting it twisted. Because like I think like Christmas, I'm not like all the Christmas jerseys. Like I don't know, something about basketball on Christmas for me. I was watching the NBA games.
That's so interesting.
But I did watch the Beyonce performance.
What did you think?
And it was like, Beyonce always, her performances are just like, I don't know how she does it.
I don't know how.
And it's like, there's no like, like she's singing live, she's dancing live.
I know.
Like
you know
Blue
what's
Ivy's
funny
in
though?
it.
I thought that like, I didn't know at first if she was singing live or not, but then I realized when I started seeing people post like their live, what's called videos. Yeah, she was singing live.
Yeah.
It was Netflix that was like glitching a little bit.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was definitely wondering that, but I think the beginning was pre-recorded. Her singing on the horse.
Okay, on the horse. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like overall choreography, like I was like, wow.
10.
Like the wardrobes, the cars.
I know.
Like.
So much like, symbolism too, especially when it comes to like Houston, but also obviously Black culture.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I know there's so much discourse right now on social media. I don't know if you've seen it about people like, the haters. They love to talk about like Beyonce's political propaganda and
That's so funny.
I'm just like, guys, let's just appreciate the
good
wonderful
art. Like,
enjoy good art.
Yeah,
like, why are we so upset over this? I thought that was ridiculous. I will say, as a Beehive member, I do have a slight hot take. My hot take is, after watching the performance, I'm not 100% sold on a Cowboy Carter tour. I know. I'm scared for the comments right now, but I don't know. Like, I watched the performance and I felt like I wouldn't get any FOMO if I missed out on that tour.
Yeah. It wasn't like, what was her previous tour? That was
Renaissance.
Renaissance was different.
It was literally in my top 5 for my
people were crying. Like, people go there and like, I heard people were like bawling in tears. My sister went,
bawling, yeah.
And, like tears came to my eyes. It was so beautiful.
It was also just like a little bit, in case like people don't know, Renaissance was supposed to be Act 2. So like, as you know, she's doing 3 acts.
Yeah.
Cowboy Carter was supposed to be Act 1. However, post-pandemic, she was like, people need joy, people need to dance, have fun. So she swapped those 2 acts, which I thought was very thoughtful. And so, yeah, I feel like that's also like adding on to the emotion to Renaissance, because coming out from the pandemic, out from just everything that was going on during that time to this amazing album, it definitely made people feel free. And it was like, oh, concert season's back. Yeah. Everyone was feeling the emotions. So hopefully she just like combines Act 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if I'm going to go.
I think overall, like, I think she like made a deal with Netflix, like, for the tour. So I'm sure either way,
it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, either way, it's gonna be a hit. And she gonna get her
bread.
bread. So like, Go Beyonce. I'm a fan.
Love that. Something
But
else.
Christmas is for NBA.
Wait, what?
Christmas is still for NBA.
Oh my gosh. I
NBA.
feel like because it's probably a seasonality thing for me.
Mhm.
Like I just associate football with cold weather and I associate like basketball with spring.
Okay, because playoffs is
Exactly.
Okay.
So in
That
my
makes sense.
head, like all the holidays, it's just NFL. But
Fairs.
we can agree to disagree. Something else that's been all over down the timeline is Detty December. Like, I know we have similar friend groups, and I swear everybody
style,
just went. Everybody went to either Nigeria or Ghana and just didn't tell us.
Yeah, I knew, and I was like, I wanted to stay.
You purposely wanted to stay
Yeah, I was
here?
like, I want to experience a New York winter. I don't know what. I don't know what came over me. I don't know what.
Freezing.
Yeah, it was freezing. It wasn't. I wasn't missing out. My brother actually went to Ghana.
Really?
I think he's still there. He's coming back like I think in a week or two.
Oh my gosh, I would love to hear like how his experience was.
He's like very like we went last December and we had like a ball. Like,
oh, so you've experienced it.
So I've experienced it. Yeah.
And you chose Ghana, not Nigeria.
I chose Ghana just because like I'm Ghanaian, I'm from there. So like I have family there. It's like part of visiting.
So this next thing I'm about to say, no, you're about to be biased. Because I wasn't trying to spark any controversy, but I really was curious who does it better, Nigeria or Ghana. But you're gonna be biased.
I think that, bro, I was seeing my friends in Nigeria and I was like, I would love to experience it. To be honest.
To honestly like have a proper comparison. Yeah.
I think that overall, from what I've been hearing, just like general sentiment, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear that Ghana just a little bit more friendly to diaspora than Nigeria.
That's
it's
fair.
more, not like friendly, but more, I guess, palatable.
Welcoming. Yeah. That makes sense.
Diaspora.
I've heard that too. I've also heard like if you're gonna go visit Nigeria, especially like during Detty December, you need to know somebody
you
who
gotta
either lives there or like who has family there. You need connection.
Yeah, in the escort, you gotta have a driver, like all these things. Like
that
you gotta have like, you can't just be moving around on your ones. Where in Ghana, like you can move around on your ones, like have like like I feel like you can move around on your ones more easily. But I haven't experienced Nigeria, so like I can't.
You can't fully speak.
Too
that makes sense. That makes sense.
But I know my friends went. They had a blast. They went to Ghana and they had.
No.
Next year, 2025, we're there.
First of all, them flight prices.
Yeah.
Why?
You gotta be early. You gotta commit early.
Even when you commit early, it's still like a couple grand. And it's a long flight.
Yeah.
Like, that is nuts. Yeah, that's nuts. But maybe. Honestly, it was funny. I was talking to Unique about this and we were saying we also want to experience, but by the time we actually like do it, will it actually be cool or will it now be too mainstream? Because right now we're in this like weird phase where people are starting to discover it a little bit more. And I'm wondering if it's going to be not overkill, obviously, but too many Americans going.
That's what. So my brother went this year and last year, and he was saying like it wasn't as like crazy as last year when we went. Like last year, traffic was like New Year's.
Okay,
if you move from one spot to the next, traffic was crazy. This year, it was a little bit less congested. So I feel like, I think overall, as more people go back to Africa, people are going to Ghana, people are going to South Africa, people are going to Nigeria. It's more spread out. Yeah. So I feel like. I don't think it'll get old. Like, I feel like it won't. I don't think going to Africa is a trend. I don't want to look at it like I don't think it's a trend. I think it's like something that as Black people, something that I feel like everyone
should experience. Yeah. Absolutely. I guess the trend would be more so like when people go, right?
Okay, yeah. When.
Yeah, like
that's
when in the year.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, in December, that's the trend. Everybody goes December.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it sounds like a great time. Minus how late everyone's staying up. Because I've seen so many Instagram stories of folks up until, why is the sun up?
So it's like,
has anybody showered?
The pregame starts at 1:30, 2 a.m.
So like,
and then like the pregame starts. Like you're pregaming, like you're getting some food at like midnight, and then you're pregaming at like 1:32.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
And then you go to the first flex at like 3, and then like it rolls into 4 or 5, and the sun starts coming up at 5. 6,
I hate that.
7. That's why people are up till like 9.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Up until 9, I thought they were just
it's so
like
hot at the same time, right? So it's kind of like
Oh, wait.
During
okay,
the day, nobody's
sense.
partying.
That makes sense.
So like,
okay,
it kind of made sense, but it's kind of like, yo, why am I like ready to party and everyone's moving slow. It's like,
That's
people
fair.
are just moving like.
So are people
very-
like sleeping, or are they just doing drugs? Like, what's happening?
People are usually like, so like, since it is like, pregame starts at like 2, people are usually sleeping during the day because the sun is really like, the sun is kind of brutal.
Even in December.
Yeah, and the sun is brutal.
Or
like,
is the seasons different?
So in the winter is like
their
their summer.
Got you.
And like our summer is there, like it's like rain season. So it's like a little more rainy.
Oh, okay.
But
fascinating.
Yeah, it's a time. Like it's a time. Like
well, I need to like experience it. I don't know if I can last until 9 a.m.
You'll get used to it. You'll adjust. You have to. You have no choice. Like
we have no choice.
Yeah, I feel like you'll adjust.
Well, we need to like plan together. We again, similar friend groups. Like you give Frank all your guy friends. I'm gonna get Unique all the girls. And we're just gonna get like a big old Airbnb
and just rock it. That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Okay, so now moving on to like one of my favorite segments, Digital Digest. As you guys know, Digital Digest is talking all things that's been trending on social media. And our lovely boy, Drake, y'all know I love to talk about this man. Drake. He is once again kicking the year off strong with his shenanigans. So, did you hear the LeBron diss?
I heard I listened to the whole freestyle.
Freestyle. First of all, was that like really a
freestyle in quotes? I could tell he was reading something off. Yeah, he definitely had like a book in front of him, like some BlackBerry.
Maybe it was for the
LeBron
aesthetic.
diss, like how I feel about that is like, it's kind of like LeBron is not a rapper. Like,
right.
He plays basketball.
That's fair.
You know, so it's kind of like if you're dissing LeBron.
Yeah, like what are you expecting?
What do you want LeBron to do?
Like, is he gonna like
dunk on you?
Studio?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want LeBron to do? So I felt like kind of confused. Like, I feel like Drake is making a lot more enemies than friends right now by dissing like my king LeBron. Like, don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you dissing the greatest of all time in basketball? Like, it's not a good.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look. I will say, I wanted to ask you specifically because so many men, they've been feeling conflicted. They're like, I saw a tweet that said, my one king is dissing my other king. I don't know what to do. And I think that's hilarious. So, okay, many questions. One, I'm not gonna lie, I could tell that he was a little butthurt because we all know that Drake and LeBron, they were besties and all that. And when I saw LeBron at the pop out for the Juneteenth Kendrick concert, now he's always been a Kendrick fan, but he was going really hard. Yeah. When They Not Like Us, like he was dancing really hard. And that's dissing his best friend. So I can kind of see, but then with that being said, I don't know, like as a man,
it's kind of like
another man who doesn't even rap.
Yeah, let's think of it this way. It's kind of like if I'm like the owner of McDonald's and I like know this dude that always eats at McDonald's and I catch him eating at Burger King. Am I gonna be upset? Like I can't. Like you're a consumer.
True.
Like LeBron is a consumer of music, so it's like I can't be mad if you enjoy. Like if you're living in first of all, you're living in LA, you're living in that culture, and you're enjoying LA music as it is being created. How can I be mad? Like if LeBron like played for like Toronto Raptors and he was like at the concert like They Not Like Us, then it'll be weird. But like LeBron lives in LA, like is surrounded by that culture.
Surrounded by the culture.
So it's kind of like, why you want him just to stay at home? Like, you know, like, so it's kind of, it's weird. It's a little weird to me.
But I think it becomes a little bit more challenging when you have relationships, you know, tied into it.
True.
Because like feelings, emotions kind of play a part. It's like you just want loyalty, especially when everybody was against you. If I'm being honest, I'm just happy that Drake is finally showing his true emotions. Because for the longest time, he's been acting like this whole beef thing did not bother him. And I've been saying like, this is the same man, I've said this before on the pod, same man who made a whole song about 19-year-old Georgia Smith. Breaking his heart. Mind you, he was in his 30s, grown man. Breaking his heart. So the entire world is calling you a pedophile, telling you that you're not black. I know, especially as a biracial man, I know that was stinging. That was hard. And so finally, he's like, you know, expressing his emotions. And he's like, yeah, my feelings are hurt. I think that's what he's
That's
essentially
real.
saying.
Yeah.
And like, I understand your analysis of like, okay, you're just a consumer at that point. But if you own a bunch of like chain restaurants, or let's say you have your own personal restaurant, right? Jean's restaurant, and you want all your friends to like come and support your opening. However, there's another, like your competitors having another opening, offering all these like cool things. It's the hot thing. You need support. All your boys go to that party.
I'm gonna feel a type of way.
Oh, you gonna feel a type of way. Like, consumer or not, like, we're supposed to be besties. We're supposed to be boys.
Yeah.
No, that's insane. The only thing that I thought was interesting, though, was the line, I got my father's habits and my mother's permission. I feel like he's now feeding into, like, do you remember Kendrick's diss Meet the Grams when he's literally talking about his gambling addiction?
Yeah.
And everything else. Is he not agreeing with Kendrick, or do you feel like that was on purpose, like he's trolling a little bit?
I think that being dissed in the way that he was dissed, he had to develop some self-awareness. And I think that's probably where that bar came. He's like, you know what? Kendrick, like, maybe you're a little bit right.
Drake is,
you know?
Drake is a little
like,
self-aware.
Let me become self-aware.
Okay.
But I do think overall, like, I'm listening to, like, Drake flow, and I'm like, you should just let this beef die and, like, just give me some singing tracks. Because, like, I don't...
Yeah.
Like for example, like I didn't listen to. At first, I heard that the freestyle came out. I didn't listen to it, but I saw like just quotes of it. And by reading the quotes, people were saying, like, I looked at the comments. He was saying, I read the quotes, and I already know what type of flow Drake is on this beat.
Yeah,
like you know, I already know what Drake is like. It's like I feel like Drake is trying to show he's like a lyricist, and it's like, bro, I don't know if
and I don't know if that's fully accurate.
That's you.
I don't think anybody expects that out of him either.
Exactly.
Like, he's just known for making the pop hits, right? Like, that's what people say. Like, at a certain point, like, you're just a pop star, which isn't an insult.
That's not bad. Like, drop the hits. We need it for the summer.
Radio hits. We need the club bangers. I feel like he needs to just really tap right back into that. And that was actually a lot of discourse too, like people saying that he's currently struggling because he used to make music for women. He used to make music for all the baddies.
That's a good point.
And now he kind of like left that. He started being a little bit more like tough Drake. And then people started like, you know, the whole big three thing. Like, okay, who's actually good when it comes, like you said, like lyrics and stuff. And now he's trying to really tap into actually properly rhyming. But I don't know if anybody listens to Drake looking for bars.
Yeah.
Like, no one's like dissecting Drake's music, if we're being honest.
The bars were not like, I think that when you, like there's, I think with like writing, there's layers to it. And so like on a first listen, you shouldn't really get all of the gems out of it. But with Drake, sometimes on the first listen, you understand the exact message he's saying.
That's true.
And it's like, he said something about like ovens closer than ovens and kitchens. It's like, because the oven is in the kitchen, it's close. I was like, okay, cool. I got that on the first listen. There's nothing deeper.
Yeah, there's nothing deep there.
Like, I could be looking hard into that bar, but
nothing thought-provoking.
I promise y'all, there's nothing else there. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like...
That's funny. Yeah.
But with a rapper like Kendrick, with a rapper like Cole, like, their bars are a little bit more deeper. Like, be like, wait, he's actually rapping from the perspective of one of his friends that was in the hood. Like, he's rapping from like there's a lot more layers to what they're talking about.
100%.
And I think that's just a result of like, if you are like getting some of your verses written for you, like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, creativity is it's a team sport, you know? It's a team sport. So like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, that's probably another issue. Is like, okay, we can't really get deep into like why
that's true
you resonate with these lyrics because you didn't necessarily
write it
author them, even though they are about you and like somebody knows the context of your life.
Right.
They're not really coming from within.
I agree.
You know?
I also just want, like, it's almost, we're approaching a year. We're not really approaching. We're a little...
Almost,
months, but almost a year.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, I think we should just free it.
Yeah.
Just, like, free it, move on. What happened? First of all, he was supposed to drop an album with Party Next Door. Like, that's...
he was.
They were supposed to do a, like, collab in November. He claimed it was going to come out in November.
But then he had to drop the lawsuit. He had some other stuff to do.
I know. He's too...
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
distracted.
We're like, we're dissing LeBron, we're dissing Kendrick, and then... And acting like nonchalant. Like, one thing I didn't like about the freestyle is like he's freestyling, and then he stops in the middle and like he like takes like a sip of this bev and continues. Like I'm like, bro, you're not even serious.
It's
like,
a persona.
Yeah,
like he's an actor. I was listening to this pod, and I don't know if you ever heard like the New Worry Mall podcast. And a while ago, like Julian made a hilarious statement. At the end of the day, Drake is an actor. At the end of the day, he is an actor. And I think like people don't realize him as a rapper, sometimes I feel like it's a character for him. Like, it's a persona. So like, I think he was trying to act like this chill, like during the freestyle, like, oh, I'm just like,
I'm unaffected.
I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm vibing, and I have this pretty girl filming me dissing another man.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's his own like little persona that he has going on. But it was very it was unserious, if I'm being honest.
Unserious. It's not like the thing is like I feel like the difference, what I've seen with like when Kendrick drops and when Drake drops is like sometimes I think that when you drop music with a visual, it's really like important, the visual that you use.
I agree.
But sometimes like the visual, like sometimes if you drop music with no visual, then it's like the music has to stand on its own. And like I think that's also a very like potent thing. If the music can stand on its own, like when Kendrick drops a song and it's just a picture, and there's no like motion visual to it.
Exactly.
It's like, I actually have to listen to the bars because like I can't. There's only so much I can get from this photograph. You know what I mean?
But like visuals can sometimes be distracting when you drop it at the same time.
Like a music video visual?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think so. It depends. I think it depends on the intentionality. Like, I think if, for example, like an artist like Childish Gambino, like when he drops a visual with his music, his music makes more sense. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It helps explain what he's talking about.
So I think it depends.
Yeah.
But there's times where like, if he dropped, let's say he dropped this freestyle and it was just a recording and there was no videotape, would it have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Done the same? No. People needed the visual. People needed to see him sitting there.
No, that's
drinking
true.
his little bev and like, I don't know.
No, that is true. We did need to actually watch him.
Watch him,
rap.
yeah.
Because if it was just like, I don't know, like, no, you're saying it perfectly. I can even imagine what that that song cover would even look like.
Yeah.
Would it be his?
And I wish he was rapping directly into the camera.
No, that would have been tough. Like he's rapping in his soul. Like he's talking to LeBron. That's what he should have done. Or he should have just texted LeBron.
You know, like it's like imagine like dissing somebody but you're not looking them in the eye the whole time. It's kind of weird. Like,
that is weird.
It's kind of like
he didn't look at the camera once, if I'm being honest.
He did a little in between when he was like stopping reading.
Side eye?
Yeah. But like, you know, it makes a difference, I think.
That does.
You know?
That does. Well, we're going to go over now to the next segment, Vibe Spotlight, where I highlight a specific artist. And today I'm highlighting Gene. That's why we have him here. Gene is dropping an EP. It hasn't released yet, right?
It's coming out. So the final masters is coming out this Wednesday. And then hopefully the end of the month. Wait, that's so exciting.
Also, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, yes, his new EP, I'm going to try and say exactly how you have it laid out. Love, love, love. So if you guys like could pick that up or if you're listening on audio, it's love with an exclamation point, love with a period, love with a question mark. And so I listened to it literally a couple times, like before I got here, but then my entire train ride, I just kept listening to the two songs. And first impression, I definitely loved both of them. And then as like you said something about this when we were talking about Drake and just like writing songs in general, how you shouldn't be able to pick up on things right away. And that's how I felt with your music.
Oh, wow, thanks.
I wasn't able to like pick up everything the first listen. It took a couple listens. I was like, oh crap, like I'm now understanding the storyline. And I love that about it. I love the fact that both songs, I feel like you're telling a story. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong with this analysis that I'm about to do.
Of course, I'm interested to hear.
Like hear my takeaways. So the first song, which is the like love, 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 it sounds like you're sharing the story of falling in love with someone. Love with an exclamation point because you spot a girl that you're into. Love with a period because it's a bit of up and down and confusing on what's actually happening. And then love with a question mark because you're questioning if it was truly love to begin with.
Interesting.
And then you're not 100% sure how she got over you so fast. And it sounds almost like she disappeared detached. Then we go into why don't you love? And that felt like it was purely like a heartbreak.
Yeah.
So, first, I guess, like, did I get that right?
I like this interpretation. Like, I might have to change my, like,
no, don't change it. Like, tell me, like, what was, first we can start with, what even inspired you to, like, make an EP? And then you can, like, walk me through your creative process.
Of course. So, yeah, I think the time when I started this project, I was back home, parents' crib, and I was learning this chords to the song by Rema, Charm by Rema. I was learning chords on the guitar. I kept playing them over and over again. It's like the only thing I knew how to play on my guitar, but it was like just satisfying just to know these chords. And then eventually, like, I started to like just kind of freestyle and like play the chords in different variations, and then ended up turning into this song where I was coming into the city a lot. So I live in like a small town in like central Massachusetts where it's very boring. No other like there's no other 20-something-year-olds that I see.
Really?
Like on the day-to-day basis.
So I'm not going to ask if you see black people because I feel like
I mean, this black like my town is pretty diverse. But like you know, after you graduate high school, it's like I didn't people really like return. People don't really like a lot of people don't really return. I hadn't really kept in touch with a lot of my high school friends. Yeah. So I was kind of just there, just locked in on like trying to find a job, get out, move to the city, whatever. Yeah. So I would come into the city and like maybe I would go on a date or two, or maybe I would meet somebody and be like, oh, this girl's like really attractive. And then after the weekend's over, I'm back in the crib in the suburbs. Yeah. Back with like my mom and my dad, not seeing any 20-something-year-olds my age. And it's kind of like, I felt like I was living in like very spotty moments of like, of like very like short-lived moments of like, maybe like infatuation or falling in love with somebody and then just being kind of ejected from that. Meanwhile, while this is all going on, I was kind of like working my way out of a previous relationship at the same time. So it's kind of like trying to discover something new and also working my way out of a previous relationship. So the project Love, 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 now I'm kind of going on a rant.
No, keep going.
I was trying to distill a young man's naive understanding of love. It's like the whole, like, it's like the log line of it. Where I feel like in previous relationships, and even in those like chasing moments of like that past year, I had a very limited understanding of love, or very naive understanding, and I wanted to distill that in a project. Not only so I could crystallize that emotion, that feeling in my past self, but also move on from it. It's kind of like
it was like healing.
It was kind of like a process of like healing that I was kind of going through when I was making this.
That's really cool. So you're saying that it was a blend between the relationship you were getting over plus the relationships that you were kind of formulating but not able to in the city.
Yeah. Not able to really develop, I guess.
You.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So let's talk about that previous relationship.
Okay, we can talk about it,
Because, I feel like this sounded like inspiration. No? Am I wrong? At least for like, Why Don't You Love? Or was this just you like spitting bars?
Why Don't You Love?
Yeah.
I feel like Why Don't You Love was more about my previous relationship. And why it didn't work. And I feel like, so basically love question mark is singing Why Don't You Love? It's the same. So love exclamation point, love period, and love question mark are three different people in a sense. Oh. And love question mark is singing this because love question mark actually represents like love, like where did it go? Like where did love go in my life, essentially? Yeah. And so love question mark is saying like why don't you love us? Why don't you love me? And like why did this not work in a sense? Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. I haven't talked about this deep. Yeah.
Really?
I haven't talked about this deep in a while.
Well, I love that you're doing that with me. Wait, okay, so that's interesting. I did have you kind of answered my question about like personal experience, and then you also answered my question if you actually wrote this.
Yeah, so I did write it, but it took a while for me to write this.
How long? Okay, walk us through like the actual writing process. I've never written anything in my life, and so I'm curious, like, how long did it take? Like,
it's so interesting. I think writing in music is such like a very like, it's a very patient. You gotta be patient with it. You can't force it, and sometimes you got to go and experience before you can write. For me, writing always starts with a freestyle. So the chorus, like the initial chorus that I sang, was literally just me freestyling. I'd come back from New York.
Yeah.
And I got home and I was like, I had Ableton open and I was like ready to start this idea, but I was kind of scared too. And I was like, you know what, let me just like freestyle, put the mic on, play the chords and just say whatever comes to mind.
Yeah.
And I said like, what did I say? Sometimes I want to run, sometimes we have some fun, sometimes I say we're done, and sometimes we go again. And I was like, that I feel like encapsulates like my whole like, experience. Like, yeah. So like, it started off with like a freestyle where I just developed like the choruses and eventually like...
And then like wrote around it.
And then I wrote around it. So like I developed the choruses, and when you're writing too, you also have to find a way to protect yourself and the people that you love as well. Originally those freestyles were very raw and very poignant, and I had to kind of like...
I don't want to cut you off because I don't want you to lose your train of thought. However, I wanted to ask, when I was like, let's talk about that previous relationship, and I wanted to know when this comes out, like, have you either like prepared for like reactions? Because obviously the person's like gonna probably pick up, you know, what this song is about. And then do you feel like you at least protected the experience and maybe even like yourself during the writing?
Yeah, I think I did the best I could. And I think that this project is not just about them, but also about other experiences.
Just all
women.
Experiences.
Yeah.
Got you.
So I wouldn't want them to feel, if they were to watch this podcast or see them to feel like this is all about them.
Yeah.
But I would want them to know that they inspired a lot of this.
That's an honor.
Yeah. So
that's
like,
my dream.
Even though like, even though things didn't work, is like, I think that it brought something out of me.
I don't think you said anything wrong, if I'm being honest. Like, you didn't say throughout the song, and obviously like I don't want to spoil too much like for the listeners, but I didn't pick up any like nastiness or like resentment for the person. If anything, I also loved how you kind of tapped into yourself too.
Yeah, I felt like I had to point fingers at myself.
Yeah, and like you definitely held responsibility and accountability, if you will, throughout the song. So you didn't like place blame on anyone necessarily. It sounded like you guys both just either weren't ready for the situation or you guys both played a part into it not working out.
Yeah, I feel like when something doesn't work, it's easy to point fingers at the other person. But like I think my mom always tells me, when you're pointing one finger at somebody, there's four fingers pointing
back at you.
And so I was kind of, when I was writing, and like a lot of this writing, like you originally asked, a lot of this writing happened for me like on the train in New York when I was listening to instrumental, and I was like kind of just writing, thinking about different things. And I begun to realize like a lot of the mistakes that I had made, like in recognizing my naivety of like understanding love. Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that I addressed those as well with it as well, if that makes sense. I didn't want to just like, it to sound like I was just like throwing stones. Yeah. As I say in the song, right? I didn't want to sound that way.
No, that's good. You know? I think you did a great job doing that. And honestly, I'm so impressed that like you wrote your own music.
It's hard to write. I feel like I'm not a good writer. And some of them, like, really? I feel like some of the bars that I wrote too, I feel like were not like very, some of the bars that I wrote were not very, they didn't have that much substance. Like, you know, like I don't think that they had like.
But I feel like a song like this didn't necessarily need to have a ton. Like, what were you expecting? Like, were you expecting a certain level of like, oh, I really want people to really sit and think about these lyrics, like, you know, understand, is there any like hidden messages, you know, in your words? Or were you expecting it to like tell a story? Because I felt like you told a story throughout.
I was expecting somebody like I was just expecting to convey a feeling. Like that was my goal. Yeah. Like convey a feeling of heartbreak, of falling in love, of
he did that.
And love period.
Yeah.
I think your analysis of it, I would love to like have those notes when we leave.
Yes.
But love period is more so about like the complacency. Like you know when you're like a familial love, when like your mom always loves you, but you don't always take it, you don't always value it because it's always there. You take it for granted.
Yes,
I feel like a lot of times in previous relationships, I would take the person's love for granted because it wasn't in the package that I wanted it to come with. Like the person loved me, really but it wasn't like I didn't know how to receive the way that this person was loving me. So I kind of became like, I kind of took the form that it came for granted. So I wanted to, like, in love period, it's kind of like you have love, like love is right there, but you don't really value it.
Okay.
It's so present. And so like, it's right in your face, right?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
And that's why the writing there, I felt like I didn't really get it fully on the nose. It kind of went around.
I think you're being hard on yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I think you're being a little
self-critical. Yeah, I'm being a little self-critical.
But you know what the beautiful thing is about music and what a lot of artists say is the beauty is that everyone's going to interpret it differently.
Exactly.
You know, everyone's going to listen to it and they're going to have different experiences. And honestly, sometimes it might even be projection, right? For our own personal experience when it comes to love. And so listening to your music, it might be why I thought it was like phases of love, for example. But I think that's also a beautiful thing to be able to write music where, like you said earlier when we were talking about Drake, that music shouldn't be so blunt, so clear, right? People should have the opportunity to have their own interpretation.
Exactly, draw their own meaning from it. And that's why, like, the main thing for me is, like, the feeling. Yeah. Like, does this song make you feel the way that I felt? However,
Why Don't You Love made me feel sad.
Yeah. That song made me feel sad.
It's the perfect heartbreak song, honestly.
That song made me feel...
Like, anybody going through anything, I highly recommend Why Don't You Love. Like, sit on... Especially listening to on the train. Oh, my gosh.
You don't know how many times this summer I would just play that and I could just go home and just sleep. Like, it's peaceful. Yeah. I feel like it was like a catharsis. Making that song, it was like... I don't need to, like... I don't need to say anything to anyone. I can just listen to the song, and that's kind of and I can just listen to the song and feel the feeling, the depth of the emotion, and like be okay with sitting with that emotion. I felt like
really deep
because sometimes I feel like for me, like I'm I'm the youngest of three. I'm used to like advocating for myself. I'm used to like asserting myself. I'm used to like if like I have a problem or issue, I'm going to like tell the person. Yeah, and like. Being out of a relationship is not like you can just like call them or blow up their phone. Yeah. You have to find another way to process. And for me, it was like, all right, I'm just going to put these headphones in, right? And like listen to the song.
That's very healthy.
Yeah, very healthy.
That's very healthy.
Because the other way is like, that's not it. Would not recommend, right?
I love that. That sounds like growth, honestly. Yeah,
like, you know, so like for me, that's what Why Don't You Love was. And that's why like... It's a very, I'm so like, originally I wasn't going to put that one out.
Really? Is that why it's a bonus track?
It felt like a bonus at first, but when it feels like a bonus, but it's probably just going to be part two.
I don't think it should be a bonus. Yeah. I think it should just be the second song.
The second song.
Yeah. Because again, like it's the perfect like continuation of Love, Love, Love. I agree. I know you said the writing process took some time and like it took a lot of dedication. You also have a 9-to-5. If you guys didn't know, Jean is a model. So I want to talk about how you're balancing. Don't do that. No, you know I've seen your like Instagram ads.
That's crazy.
I'm being so serious. I've seen the paid ads like on my story. Like I've seen that. I'm like, is that Jean?
Yeah.
And that is Jean. Well, I did have a personal question about that. Like, how did you even get into modeling and how were you discovered?
Yeah, so I was just trying to make some bread. I'm not gonna lie. I started my career at Facebook, but then I was laid off and I had to move back home. And I was just like,
what year was this?
This is 2021.
Two. Okay.
Going to 2023.
Okay.
And I always wanted to like, originally I was gonna start modeling in New York, but I was back home. I was back home. Yeah. And I was like, you know, let me just like apply agencies in Boston and see what happens. Yeah. And I got an interview at this agency called Maggie in Boston. And it was like crazy story. It was like a blizzard. And they said, oh, you want to come up for an interview? I said, yeah, I'll be there. I was like, I'll be there no matter what.
You were dedicated.
It was like 6 feet of snow, like 6 inches of snow in my driveway. Yeah. I was like, I have to find a way. So I just shoveled 2 little like tire tracks in my driveway, backed out and drove through the blizzard into Boston. It wasn't as bad in Boston. Like it was just raining. Yeah. But where I was in like Central Mass, it was bad.
It was bad.
And I told them when I got there, I was like, yeah, I drove through a blizzard for this. I was like, yeah, I really like would love to. And
You're real dedicated.
they signed me, yeah.
That's amazing.
And so that's kind of how my journey started.
Okay.
In Boston, there's like a lot of like athletic brands, and that's kind of where like I started.
Okay,
like,
that makes sense.
Getting in with like Reebok, and, New Balance, stuff like that.
Yes.
And then when I moved to New York, I recently got signed in September. So now like things are picking up here as well. Yeah, so
yeah, because I've been seeing a lot more shoots, I feel like.
Yeah, things have been getting a little busy. I'm not gonna lie, a little busy.
So that's why I bring up the modeling, and then of course like your music and the 9 to 5 too.
Yeah.
How are you balancing all three?
I think like there's people say, oh, I have to find time for this. And I just say I have to make time. But you just gotta create the time.
You gotta create the time.
Maximize
Maximize your 24 hours.
Exactly. Fortunately, my job is remote.
Okay.
So like I am able to balance like the modeling gig with work.
That's good.
And like my team members are like
they're supportive.
Of like
That's good.
Me like maybe missing a meeting or working late.
Yeah.
And getting the work done. As long as the work is done,
oh my gosh,
one's complaining, you know?
I know this firsthand. He will work late though.
Yeah,
he will get that work done. We went to, I don't even want to, this so depressing, but the election night party.
Yeah.
The election night party. I was like, Gene, are you working? Are you coding right now?
Yeah.
That's nuts. It was like 9 p.m.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like if I model during the day and I'm not near my laptop, I just have to make up for that time at night or work in the morning a little bit, go to the gig, work at the gig a little bit, and then work at night.
Shit.
But it's like, I'm just like, while I'm young, let me just hustle. And if this modeling thing blows up and I don't need to do this 9 to 5 no more, hey, so thanks be to God. You know what I'm saying?
You're already answering my next, and honestly, my final question. We're going into 2025, New Year's resolutions. And I feel like I was actually, my last episode with Unique, we were kind of talking about what does 2025 look like for everybody? Yeah. And is it like really setting the groundwork for what our next 5 to 10 years will look like, our long-term goals? How, like, in your perfect world and your desired reality, what does that look like? Is that really tapping into being a musician, an artist, a singer? I don't know how you label, because you kind of were like singing and rapping a little bit. Yeah. So is it that? Is it modeling? Is it like doing a creative path? Or is it like going down the software engineer side?
Yeah, like I think that when I graduated, I was like, oh, I got a degree for a job that doesn't exist yet, was the thing that I was always telling myself. And I think as of right now, I really like music, but I really like how I'm like I really like being new at something at the same time. Yeah. So I like where I am in my music journey right now. I think for 2025, ideally, I would love to just like let like my creative practice be something that is solvent. Like I have a solvent creative practice where like I'm getting paid to do something that I love doing. Like I would love to wake up and go to my job and be like, I'm like excited to go to my job. Like that's something that like it's like it's like we're young, like we're not there just yet. Like we're gonna get there, but like that's the goal that I want to reach. And if that means like modeling is something that pays the bills, and then I'm also able to make music on the side. Yeah. And then I think coding is still fun. Like it can be fun at times, but then sometimes it can be like pulling teeth. Sometimes modeling can be fun at times. Sometimes it can feel like pulling teeth.
That's so like all long shoot days.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There is no like, I don't know if there is like a profession that I know I love doing. I just find that I find joy in the variation in what I do. Yeah. Right. So I would hope to be able to better balance all of my interests in 2025. I feel like 2024, I did the best I could, and I was just kind of juggling. But I would hope to like have like a better flow. Okay. Yeah, a better flow to like how
a bit more structure.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I loved what you talked about, like just being kind of early in on your career. I went to CultureCon. I missed this talk, but Tyler James, I don't know if you saw that clip. He was talking to entrepreneurs, creatives, and he was basically saying, enjoy this now. Like, enjoy the present moment of being new in your career and being able to just make mistakes and being able to figure it out, because this is a beautiful time. And I even think about this when it comes to podcasting, like the content creation I do. These are all passions, but also just like kind of giving myself that grace and also like recognizing this is a beautiful moment that we're currently in. Because once you make it, like Tyler James, obviously like Abbott Elementary, although he was a childhood star. Everybody hates Chris and all that. But I see what he means. Like once you actually reach that fame, once you reach like that level of success, you can't really make those mistakes anymore. And so you kind of miss the journey that it took to even get there, because you have all these eyes on you. And it's not even less fun. It's just a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I feel like there's more pressure. Like think of like Tyler, the creator, when he first dropped his first album compared to now. It's a lot more pressure, a lot more stakes. Think about Drake now. Like a lot more pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Much pressure,
like then Rent do Drake when he was just rapping, he's on the Sprite commercials. It's a different, you know what I'm saying? It's different. So like I think being new at something is like a blessing. Like being a small artist with nothing to really lose. Where I can drop this EP, it could be a success. It could be a little bit of a flop. And then I could drop a whole different sound. And if people like it or not, it's cool. Like, but since I'm new, I can experiment. I can do whatever I want.
You can do whatever sound. You know? People, there's no expectation. And that's also beautiful, honestly. Well, thank you so much,
of course, thank you so much for having
me. Oh my gosh. Before we go, please tell the people like where they can find you, all that.
My Instagram is at @TheRealNartey. And my artist name is Genias, Genias. The project Love, Love, Love should be out, I want to say, late January.
TBD. But I'll post like when it actually goes out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's exciting. Awesome. Well, thanks. This was so much fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Yes.
Yes, and I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Bye.
See y'all.